to create, it means to create your workflow, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
process, what you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
your structure around it. And this, everyone becomes their own mini company in a way, right? From strategy
Mm-hmm.
to planning to realization to results
Mm-hmm.
and going back in that circle. So this
Mm-hmm.
is, to me, it's fascinating how this kind of industrial age mentality
Mm-hmm.
transforming as we speak. So do you
Mm.
find this again frustrating for larger companies, because it's not easy to go from that waterfall model and very hierarchical structure to this horizontal networking community based workflow? How do you find this kind of two worlds working together?
Well, like one of the famous investor said, like not the strongest companies, well, like not the most like, yeah, I believe it was like the strongest company succeed, or like not like basically there was a theory of like the Darwin theory says like the species that live the longest are not the strongest, the biggest. Same to startups, right? Like it is the ones that who can adapt themselves succeed the longest, right? Like so basically I personally would feel like the best tech company are starting invest heavily into the creator programs. A good example would be where we met on LinkedIn, right? Like LinkedIn have been really friendly to the creators. They've been invest both like money and time on like creator manager programs to help creators succeed on top of the platform. So I personally feel like some of the big companies are doing great in that sense. And I do think other companies should definitely incorporate creator strategy into it. This week we have, Mr. Beast and Mr. Beast manager are on the highest ranking, I believe it was Forbes list. So basically, they're saying, like creators are the next generation of big brands. I've also listened to this from like my chats with like other investors or like other investors chats with other investors. Basically, people are saying creators may be the next generation of the big tech brands because of they already own the distribution platform. They own their audience. They know what the audience want, and they can basically incorporate like the Web3 identity, right? Like they can incorporate the ideas into the product right away. And I think big company to succeed in this space, you definitely should work with creators.
In some older terms, it used to be partnership. It used to be this
Mm-hmm.
collaborative kind of part of the business, but now it's furthermore important, right? And if you're
Mm-hmm.
behind and if your company is not looking at your ecosystem, right, and the
Mm-hmm.
creators that will help you to get better, right, and frankly
Mm-hmm.
to hear what's happening outside in the outside world, right, because large companies
Mm-hmm.
become so much focused on their importance and their internal processes. So I spent part of my career there. I know exactly the feeling. That's why to me, the possibilities are
Mm-hmm.
amazing. What we're seeing out there.
Mm.
Grace, thank you so very much for your time. This is enormously energizing talk. In conclusion, as takeaways, would you like to finish with few takeaways for the audience? Again, going back to launching your brand in Web3, maybe 3 steps or something.
Yeah, totally. To think about launching your brand in Web3, number one, you have to really hone in on the community that you're building. Your community is your audience. It's the people gonna support your product. It's the people who can actually give you the right idea on the right product. And I think number one, definitely focus on the community. Number two, really focusing on the fit instead of like what looks good on paper, right? Think, you know, instead of thinking, what is the biggest brand that I could work with? Think what is the or like biggest creator I could work with, or like biggest any collaborator you want to work with. Think who are gonna make sense for you and your business. Really finding that fit, and then really identifying, who you are, why people come to you, and then finding the partnership that really resonate with you and your audience is extremely important. And number three is, physical and digital goods may not be the same group of audience. You really need to have that tailored strategy to attract both, the digital natives as well as the, your original fans who loves your physical product. Creating that 360 experience is extremely important. So those are my three, I guess, takeaway for the brands who want to enter the Web3 space.
Thank you so much. In conclusion, I encourage everyone again, follow Grace, find the good advice right there, connect with Grace, because as you see, she's amazing professional advising brands, advising customers. So thank you, Grace, so very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. I definitely highly encourage everybody to follow Irene as well. If you're listening to this, she is very professional, and I truly admire that you are, having it all like looking so professionally, and then you show up all the time on LinkedIn. And I really admire that work ethic, that the amount of work you put in, as well as you show up really just like prepared and everything.
Thank you, Grace. Appreciate